Latasha Daniels knocked on the door of Pastor Brodus Perry. The pastor wasn't there, but his wife Tabitha was, and she invited Latasha inside. Then later on, the pastor did return home. It was a house full of tension. And as Latasha was being walked out, she turned and exclaimed, "You broke my heart," to the pastor, and pulled out a gun and shot him to death. Tabitha was also shot, but she survived. Now Latasha Daniels is on trial charged with murder, and tonight we take a look at the defense case. What will they argue, and will the accused killer take the stand? But first, in Las Vegas, the brutal death of 46-year-old Jonathan Willett stunned even seasoned detectives. Found in August of 2023 with his body decapitated and chemically burned, Willett had been romantically involved with actress turned adult performer Devyn Michaels. Prosecutors say Michaels struck the fatal blow, then hid his head and disposed of evidence in a grisly departure from justice. Initially, Michaels pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, but during her scheduled sentencing, she abruptly withdrew the plea, claiming she could prove her innocence. Now Devyn Michaels is facing a Vegas jury charged with first-degree murder in a case where the alleged motive will shock you. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And you know, when I was here about 24 hours ago, I was talking about love triangles, right? And how many of these cases and stories we've covered through the years on Court TV. And I talked about some that, stand out more than others. But the bottom line, we've seen a lot of them. And last night, the story, and we're going to talk about it tonight, is about a cheating pastor, right? Caught in this love triangle. His mistress, his girlfriend, comes over to his home and is there with his wife. And then he comes home, the three of them are there, and he ends up dead. And I said that was an unusual love triangle because in many of the love triangles, if the man has two women, he usually kills one of them so the other one doesn't find out. I've seen that many, many times. Scott Peterson, Rabbi Newlander, I get it. But this was unusual that he, in the midst of this love triangle, was the victim. Well, the one tonight is much more shocking than that. Okay? Last night I said, oh, this is unusual. No, tonight this is absolutely jaw-droppingly shocking. The nature of this love triangle and how it plays into this murder trial. And this one is really a family affair involving this woman, Devyn Michaels. Okay, let me lay it out for you so you understand the nature of this shocking love triangle. We begin with Jonathan Willett. He is the victim in this case. He is the one who was killed. He had a relationship with a woman, and together they had a child. That child was a son named Devyn. There he is, Devyn Willett. Okay, so Jonathan is with this woman, but then Jonathan splits from Devyn's mother, so he's no longer with her and has a relationship with Devyn Michaels. Now, Devyn Michaels, the defendant in this case, the former adult film actor, right? So she's out of the business now, but had been in the business for quite some time, making a lot of movies under different names. Okay, now, Jonathan and Devyn start a family. They have two daughters, two preteen daughters at this point. Now, they never got formally married to one another, which to me is a little surprising. You live in Vegas, just head down to the Elvis Chapel. Takes 5 minutes, right? But they didn't. They didn't get married, but they were sort of living as some form of a family, right? Mom, dad, and two little girls. Now, Jonathan was granted full custody of their two children, but in an attempt to stabilize their lives, the children's lives, Jonathan was in the process of moving in with Devyn Michaels at the time that he was killed. So they were living separately. He gets custody, but he's like, I'll move in. It'll be better for the girls. Now, at some point, and he was in the process of moving in when he was killed and when he died. But at some point before Jonathan was killed, okay? Before Jonathan was killed, Devyn got married to Jonathan's son, Devyn. You follow? I don't even know if it's a triangle anymore. I don't know if you can call it a triangle the way it's all playing out here. But Jonathan's son, Devyn, marries Devyn. I told you it was a little shocking. Now, the nature of the marriage. They said the marriage was out of convenience for insurance purposes, like health insurance or something. But it was revealed that, yes, indeed, this marriage was consummated. This marriage was, in fact, romantic. Okay, let's take a listen to Devyn Michaels explaining, and this is a police interview, and you're going to hear the audio, explaining the family situation to the detective. Now, if you were shocked by what we just went through here, I was shocked when I found this out. The detective is shocked as well. Take a listen.
So you guys have been off and on since when?
No, we're not off and on. We're just trying to make a family work. Like, we're not physically intimate or anything like that. We're just trying to, because the girls really want us with one house, yeah. And it saves on gas, so we're trying to make that.
Do you have a boyfriend or anything right now?
Yeah, I'm married.
You're married?
Yes, sir.
I was not told that information. I thought you
I'm
guys...
married, but, okay.
We were told that you guys are possibly trying to get back together.
No, we're trying to get everyone in one house and be a family.
Oh, okay.
For the girls.
So, who are you married to?
I'm married to Devyn.
The son?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So, Devyn, his son, and you are now married. How long have you been there?
Almost 2 years. And yeah, John knows.
Devyn took the stand. Let's hear him talk about the relationship with his wife and what his father knew or didn't know about this.
At some point prior to that, had he learned that you had actually married Nikki?
Yes, sir.
How was that conversation, or if you had a conversation about it?
He sent me a text message asking or saying, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not right. And I responded with half of what you know is true and the other half isn't.
So your dad clearly knew you were formally married.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the date you got married?
No, sir.
Did you ever get divorced?
No, sir.
Is that something you would like to do?
After this, yes.
Okay. Once this trial is done?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, he referred to her as Nikki because Devyn has other names, you know, that she used when she was working in the business, and has, I think, 2 aliases that are completely different than the name that we're calling her now. So if you hear Nikki, Nikki and Devyn are the same person. Is that clear? Let's bring in the think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, legal analyst Carmen Rowe. Also with us, attorney Ali Benevento, and criminal defense attorney and lawyer Lori on TikTok, Lori Murray. Should we call it a love triangle, Carmen? What is it?
It's a lot, Vinny. And I got to tell you, I've been watching this trial on Court TV and I love it. I can't get enough of it. This is the funnest, includes everything you would ever want from a trial, a triangle, a love affair, a family, all of it.
Yeah. Ali, how would you describe what this arrangement is between Devyn, Jonathan, Devyn? the kids. I mean, I'm looking at it, and I believe that Devyn's daughters are also her sister-in-laws.
Dysfunctional is the word that I would use. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of confusion in that house about what to call the different family members because of the dynamic here. It's bizarre. It's Vegas, baby. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Vegas, but a man is decapitated, Lori. At the end of the day, decapitated. And I'm trying to...
he's decapitated.
I'm trying
and he's missing.
Yeah. What I'm trying to understand, though, is what does the jury do with this? Like this relationship? Like, how do they process it? How do they use it to uncover what happened here and why it happened?
Well, I think the prosecution is going to do a great job. I don't think it's too difficult to understand. She was, she was involved with two different men of the same family, which kind of goes with her adult activities that provide her income. That I think the jury's not going to have a real hard time with this one. They're going to see this for what this is, especially when she's trying to blame the husband's son.
Yeah, but what is this? Like, do you think because she uses different names, she thinks she's different people? Is that possible? That's not possible, right, Carmen? I mean, I'm like, for her, because she's got children. Like, if there weren't children involved here, I would say, okay, whatever. It's all adults doing crazy adult things. She chose to have children with her husband's father.
Vinny, look, my take on this is that the jury's going to see what I see, which is she's a vixen. She's manipulative. And look, she's not only with these two men, based on the testimony I've seen, she was with these two men on the night of this incident, one way or the other. And so I think this jury's going to see her for the person she is, and that's a person that may very well be guilty. What's going to be interesting is to see how the other two men play into this situation. Was she so manipulative that she convinced her lover / husband / stepson to help her in this? Was this a self-defense situation? Is that what the defense is going to bring out? Because we know that she withdrew her plea because she has evidence of her innocence.
Yeah, well.
Can't wait to see what that is.
Great. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. Let me put this out. I want to put out what the prosecutor said in their opening statement and see if this makes sense. All right, the defendant splits from Jonathan. He has custody of their daughters. Devyn marries Devier. The daughters struggle with custody arrangement, and the idea of living under one roof for the children is discussed. When Devyn realizes John is moving in, quote, the walls are closing in, and she makes the decision to kill him. August 7th, 2023, Jonathan discovers her son in his bed with face and neck missing. Jonathan's mother discovers her son in his bed with his face and neck missing. Officers arrive and find a bloody scene, chemical burns on the body, and clean decapitation. Jonathan's mother tells police the last person with Jonathan was Nikki, also known as Devyn Michaels. Surveillance video shows Devyn leaving the victim's residence at 2:04 a.m. Digital evidence rules out Devier. Cell phone evidence corroborates that Devier is at home while the phones of Devyn and John are traveling together. The defendant confesses to bashing John on the back of the head while giving him a massage. She refuses to acknowledge decapitating him. So when I look at the evidence here, the strength of the evidence, there's also this, Allie, this cleanup that's taking place, I think, or what? I don't understand the decapitation either. Like, I don't understand that.
I don't understand the decapitation in the context of her claiming, did I hear somebody say self-defense? I mean, you don't see decapitation in self-defense cases typically. It seems like that's the type of person that seems like that's the type of thing, that a person does with a lot of emotion or passion. There's a reason why that man's head was cut off. And I don't think that that reason was self-defense. But then again, I'm not sitting in the trial.
Why? That's an important question, Lori. Why? Why at this moment does
Honestly,
she choose to do this?
The why is important, but also is the how. I mean, that takes a very strong person to decapitate somebody. The last person, if you remember, that we saw that did this was Taylor Schabusiness. Both of them seem to be a little bit crazy, but it takes some kind of superhuman strength for a woman, especially to make this kind of incision, especially if they're saying it's a clean cut, and then to clean up and take a trophy away from the scene, which is just baffling. Why? She left the body and took the head. It makes absolutely no sense.
All right. Think Tank staying with us all night. They're in on this. We're going to have more on this trial, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie investigates a standout athlete, brutal assault, and a courtroom deal that shocked a town. Jesse Butler's case has ignited fury. Multiple girls say they were raped, strangled, and filmed, and the latest sentence shocked victims and lawmakers alike. Is justice being served or lost in a teenage plea deal? Tonight, we investigate.
Here you are, responsible for the lifelong torment of an entire family. Is that evil in your mind now? So now you've taken her mother's life, and you heroically step in to console her.
I knew it was wrong, but yeah, I still did it.
Did you murder her mother to try and drive her back into your arms? Oh my God.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
I mean, you had resentment for your father. Fair to say?
No, sir.
And then kind of realized who he was as a person. And when you were talking about moving out of Yoko's house, you said, I got out as soon as I could, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's Devyn, who's on the stand. It's the trial for the murder of his father. He's married to his father's ex-lover, mother of his two daughters, whatever. Okay. She took a deal. Devyn Michaels took a deal last fall, right? She's charged with first-degree murder. She took a deal for second-degree murder, was facing 10 to 15 years in prison. It was sentencing day, and then this happened.
The way that they manipulated and altered and deleted things is wrong. They should not be able to do it, and they have. And for you to be able to look me in the eye knowing that the things are altered and...
You pled guilty, man.
Mr. Michaels, you are not to address the state. You are to address me. You are. You're addressing Mr. Giordani. You are going to address me.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Judge, I'm not comfortable with this record. I'm willing to let her out of her plea if the court is inclined.
I don't know how to fix this.
Ms. Michaels, I need you to understand what I'm saying to you and answer my question.
Yes.
Do you want to withdraw your plea and go to trial?
Yes, please.
All right. This plea is going to be withdrawn.
The plea was withdrawn, so she's now facing a potential life in prison. The best she can do if she's convicted of first-degree murder is get parole eligibility at 20 years if she gets life with the possibility of parole, but she could get life without the possibility of parole. She had a deal for 10 to 15 years, but at the sentencing said, I'm innocent, and it got thrown out. Let's bring back in our think tank. What's going on here? Carmen Rowe, Ali Benevento, Lori Murray. Lori, what's going on here?
Yeah. Judges really don't like it when you start talking about being innocent when you're standing in front of them for a sentencing or a plea. But I think that at this point, she's just kind of a little bit off. I mean, I think you'd have to honestly look at her mental stability at this point, because she's really not accepting the facts that she's already said were true on multiple occasions, because I think she gave a confession to the police too. And, you know, it's really frustrating as a defense attorney when you see a client give up a deal on a case that you know the state can prove. So I feel for her defense attorneys right now.
Where were they?
Paranoid, doesn't she?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was saying she sounds paranoid. If you listen to the way that she was talking at that hearing, she said things are being altered. I don't know what to do. She looks and sounds like a woman in crisis. I agree with Lori. It seems like there's something going on mental health wise. She's not making a whole lot of sense. I couldn't tell what she was talking about. I agree. I think she was frustrating the judge, but she's a woman who sounds incredibly paranoid, and I'm not sure if that angle's being explored or not. But that's the way I look at her behavior and her speech at that hearing.
That's the way you have some kind of sympathy for her after what she allegedly did. That's the only way you can have some kind of sympathy for her, because she does look a little unstable in that particular video. But she didn't sound that way in the police interview.
Do you think it's an act?
You know what I
Lori?
think is fascinating? As looking at this, I looked exactly at what you did, Vinny, and I thought, why would she go to trial? Why would she throw away a deal that's capped at 15 for parole eligibility and risk life? I really think there's a defensive theory here that's real. She made admissions that she hit the decedent in the head, doesn't know if he died, and the state doesn't seem to be able to explain where the head is, where the weapon is that decapitated him, and more importantly, looking at the trial today, where all the blood is. And so I think there's a very real defensive theory that if it continues to mount as well as it is, I think there may be some reasonable doubt here that she caused the death of the decedent in this case.
Let me do
and
this.
I can't wait to see.
Let me do this. Let me put on the screen some of the an outline of what the defense case is from their opening statement. They told the jury, or she told the jury, watch for clues in the statements of Devier. Devier tells police his marriage to Devyn is out of convenience and they don't sleep in the same bedroom. He's lying about the relationship. The affair between Devyn and Devier had been going on for years while Devyn was dating his father. When Jonathan was moving back in, it meant Devier was getting kicked out. Devier hated his dad, and his dad was taking his home and his wife. Devier killed his father and left his phone at home when he did it. Here's Devier on the stand.
When was it that you first learned of the graphic nature of what happened to your dad after his death?
I believe it was a day prior to the phone call that I was sent an article from the Las Vegas News explaining what had happened to my father and that she was involved in it.
Okay. At the end of that phone call, somebody hung up. Who did that?
She did.
When you were telling her, I'm leaving to California, I'll leave the dog, had you already planned when all this kind of madness started to break it off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that essentially what the jury just heard, your breakup conversation?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember if you ever talked again after that?
And we never talked again after that.
Look at me. Did you kill your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in killing your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in what happened to his body after?
No, sir.
Pass witness.
All right, Carmen, viable villain?
Maybe. Look, I think he did great on direct, but there were a lot of lies exposed on cross. And I think they really put, again, a great case out there that he lied consistently about their relationship. He lied about seeing her at 2 a.m., all the different lies that really matter in this case, because we're supposed to use a lot of circumstantial evidence to piece this whole thing together as to what happened that night and how exactly his head is gone and that they can't locate it. They suggest that she maybe took it from the home and discarded it somewhere, but they're not really piecing that together. And it seems like what they're using to give us this narrative is Devier. And with all the lies that he told on the stand today that were exposed by the defense, I think they're going to have a tough road ahead.
I'd be interested to see that. You know, I didn't get to watch today, but we talked about it being really difficult to decapitate someone. At least there you have another viable suspect that could probably have handled the decapitation better than a female. The only issue, again, that we're not talking about here is the surveillance video that picked her up with Jonathan, but it didn't pick up the son with him. So he's not on camera, so they're going to have a problem with that.
Well, they also have a problem with the weapon, but the good news is that Devyn happens to have those type of weapons at his home, and they talked about that today as well. But I thought what was really interesting is they talked about this notion that there isn't enough blood, there wasn't enough time, and that there has to be something, some gap on the canvas that the state's not filling in. And I think it goes back to this reasonable doubt, not that we're going to know at the end of this trial exactly what happened, but that there's going to be so many questions that we're not sure that she's the person who caused his death, even if you believe her admissions that she hit him in the back of the head during a massage.
Now, I started everything with the diagram, trying to understand the relationships. And Allie, at the end of the day, I think that becomes the most important thing for the jury. Like, what exactly was the relationship between Jonathan and Devyn? Were they moving back in because they were getting back together? Was Devyn out of the picture? Was Devyn jealous? Or was Devyn angry that Jonathan was coming in and didn't want him interfering with her new life with Devyn? So to me, that's the crucial part here, is understanding and figuring out the nature of these relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And arguably, both of them could have had some motive in trying to get rid of him. And so I think that adds to the difficulty of the dynamic as well. If you can understand the relationships, which I don't know that there's any understanding to be had there, but she has a reason to want to get him out of the picture, as does Devyn. So that further complicates everything. Could have been either of them.
Absolutely. And our coverage continues tomorrow on this case on Court TV. You'll watch it. But we're also watching another case involving another love triangle. This woman, Latasha Daniels, accused of murdering her former boyfriend, the pastor, who was married. She took the stand today. You'll see her testimony when we come back.
To my family, I'm sorry that I have let you down. I tried my best to be the person you all thought I was. I tried to be the person you could count on and be proud of. However, I have been depressed for a long time. I did well with coping until the past 2 years. My world changed February 24th, 2017. And this just keeps getting worse. I know what I have been through may be nothing to some, and you don't understand why I couldn't bounce back. I have fought hard for so long to keep things together. I didn't trust anyone to know deep down how bad I was struggling. Only a handful of people knew, but they couldn't help me. To my fellas, I'm so sorry that I have let you down. I have fought hard to be the best mother I could be to each of you. I pray that what I have taught you will stick with you forever. Please don't be ashamed of me.
What was the purpose of the gun?
I wanted to end my life, and I felt like that was going to be the best way to do it.
So that's Latasha Daniels in court reading her suicide note that she says she wrote before purchasing a gun that she said she was going to use to take her own life. But it didn't exactly work out that way. Instead, she went to the home of the man that she was sleeping with. He was having an affair with her because he was married to someone else. That was the pastor. She went to the pastor's home. The pastor's wife was there. She invited her in because they knew each other. And then the pastor got there. And then a short while later, as she's leaving the apartment, she tells the pastor, "You broke my heart," shoots and kills him, shoots the pastor's wife, she survives, testified against her. So now, Latasha Daniels on the witness stand giving her version of what happened that night when she shot and killed the pastor.
I told him, well, we still haven't told Tab. You've always said something about telling Tab, so we haven't told Tabitha. And he said, okay, we'll tell Tabitha. He told me to go to the apartment and just talk to her about tennis until he got there, and that once he was there, we would tell her. He had to go to his boss house to drop off something. And so he gave me a backstory as to what to tell her if she asked me while I was in town, and we left. But before leaving, we came to the resolve that once we told Tabitha about the relationship, we had a trip that was planned to go. We was going to Kentucky. If she said yes, then that would be a new start, a fresh start. But if she said no, then that would be the trip that we would end. I went to the apartment and knocked on the door.
Did you talk to Tabitha?
Yes, we talked. We talked about tennis, but right before we kind of got into the tennis talk, she had made a phone call to Brodus.
And what did she say to him?
She told him, she asked how long it was going to be before he got there. And then she told him she had a surprise for him. When he came in, he didn't look surprised or anything, which is what I thought he would do since he knew I was going to be there. But he was just like, I think Tab was like, surprise. And he was like, this not a surprise. I thought you had some keto cookies for me. And as we were talking, he would make references to me drinking and would say, well, I think you're going to have to stay the night. So I'm thinking, okay, well, this is about to get into this conversation. But he never would give me eye contact. But he would continue to make, it's like, we have to clean off the bed in there because it has a lot of clothes on it. And, but I'm still looking at him to get, to see where you're going with this. But he never did lead into the conversation. I think I was more nervous because I just didn't know which way it was going to go, but hopeful.
At some point, you lost hope.
Yes.
And you said you were going to leave.
Yes.
Why did you decide to leave?
I saw that it wasn't going anywhere. Like I said, he was not giving me eye contact. So I knew, or I felt like he had changed his mind. And I just didn't want to keep sitting there feeling, at that point, stupid.
What happened after you said you were going to leave?
Tabitha got up, he got up, and so she began to tell me about watching for the police, because I had been drinking.
Had you drank a lot?
No, not at all. But she still was just letting me know. And she began to walk toward the door. And I asked him, would he walk me out? He said no. And I said, why not, sir? That's Southern hospitality for you to walk a woman outside when it's dark. Because I wanted to just get him to see, what happened. Why didn't you follow through? But he refused to walk me out. So Tabitha opened the door and was walking out. I was still trying to get him to walk me out. And as I reached into my pockets to get my keys, I remember being outside the door, and then the next thing I was standing in their kitchen.
Do you deny that you shot Brodus Perry?
I do not.
Do you deny that you shot Tabitha?
I don't, but I know it wasn't intentional.
Did you mean to shoot Tabitha?
No, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
When you went to that apartment that day, did you intend to use your gun on either Brodus or Tabitha?
No.
When you went there, what was your purpose in going there?
Thinking that I was going to get some kind of ending to the relationship.
And what do you mean?
Like, okay, of course, after I got to, talking to him at the lounge, we had a plan. It was either going to be a start or an ending, but it was something that I could see, like I knew it wasn't just a disappearing text, but it's still, I love you, So I went to the apartment, I guess, for lack of a better word, to get some resolve.
What's the defense? Anyone?
I don't know what she's doing on that stand. It's crazy.
I would like to say you have picked a great couple of topics. Sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you guys. You picked a great couple of topics for Ladies' Night. I mean, this is just all the women going crazy. I personally believe that this woman was in crisis. She had mental health problems. She's written a suicide note on her way into this place. So I don't know if it's a defense. She's absolutely admitting that she did it, but it's almost like she's looking for some jury nullification and some help for the intent portion of it, and the intent not being there to harm either the wife or the boyfriend. She's making it sound like she just snapped.
But do you find her believable,
completely agree,
Lori? I mean, she's not sympathetic at all. Sorry, Carmen.
I thought she was very sympathetic. The woman's got tears and snot, excuse my language, running down her face as she's reading that letter. Yes, I found her credible.
She broke my heart. I think it's the saddest story I've seen in a while.
Well, let me ask you, Carmen. Let me ask you, Carmen. Is the defense really just trying to make the pastor look bad, and this is a guy who deserved to get shot and killed? Is that like you're not necessarily going to argue that to the jury, but is that really what's happening here?
Absolutely. And in Texas, it's a real defensive theory that some people think is based in the law, but it's based in reality. That if I hate him enough and I am so sympathetic for her that I may find some reasonable doubt or some things that the state missed. Or, as Lori pointed out, and I think that's really what the game's about legally, is the culpable mental state of intentionality and premeditated murder, that's not what this was about. So I think that's the real defensive theory. But it is a heartbreaking story, and I believe her. I don't know.
Especially when you look at, her past, her 2 marriages and, just the relationships leading up to this, and the fact that she was seeking counseling from this man. And according to her, on the first night of the counseling, he's taken advantage of her and her emotional state. So, yeah, I found her extremely credible, and I feel really bad for her.
Mm-hmm. I think the pastor, if he wasn't shot and killed in cold blood, could be the bad guy in all of this, right? Could be the villain of villains. But she went and purchased a gun. She brought the gun with her. And then instead of getting the keys out of the car to just leave, she admits she took the gun out of the purse. And I think the real problem that she's going to have, she also shot Tabitha, who was the real victim in all of this. She lost her husband. Her husband was cheating, and the woman who did it is in court, trying to convince a jury that the pastor is the bad guy here. Like, I think, or that she's the victim here. I mean, the real victim is Tabitha, and I think that's going to end up being the biggest problem that she has overall when it comes to, the sympathy in the case, Allie.
But what was she doing on the witness stand? That's the part that I keep coming back to. What was the purpose of that story? Was it to get sympathy? Because I see what everybody's saying. Oh, she appears so sympathetic. And I'm not questioning that her tears are genuine, but girl, just leave. I mean, she did. She took the gun. She went in there. Yes, she was suicidal. Yes, she may have been taken advantage of, but it was very clear at some point in time during that night that he was not leaving his wife for her. Girl, get up and leave. And instead, she got up. She had a gun in her pocket. She knew. She chose to use it. And then she got on the witness stand and told us all about it. I don't understand the defense theory of putting her up there. I don't know that any level of sympathy overcomes her just flat out admitting that she did it. It's strange to me. I'm sorry, guys. I don't get it.
It seems like she was driven by anger. Like her own words, I felt stupid.
She was
felt
embarrassed.
stupid there.
Yeah, she said, I felt stupid. I'm embarrassed. I'm disappointed. I didn't get out of this that he was going to leave his wife and come with me. And so she was ticked.
But she had a suicide note. So put that into context with all of that. I mean, she says she bought the gun because she was going to commit suicide. I can buy that because she had the note. So she goes in and she realizes that he's not going to leave her, and she's walking out, and yes, she got embarrassed and snapped. That's the part where she snapped, I think. But I do think that she planned to purchase that gun to kill herself and not to kill him. The part that gets me, and the part that I have a question about, is when she tells the wife to move so she can shoot him again. I mean, she shot him 5 times. Move out of the way so I can put another bullet in this man to make sure he doesn't get up. So yeah, that's a problem for her.
Major problem. We're out of time for tonight. Carmen Rowe, Ali Benevento, Lori Murray, great to have you on Ladies Night. We'll see you again. All right, folks, when we return, something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, he pleaded no contest to a series of rape-related charges. He faced 78 years behind bars and walked out under supervision instead. How did the Oklahoma justice system let Jesse Butler off with no prison time after such violent allegations? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Did you murder her mother to try and drive her back into your arms? Oh my God.
Interview with a Killer. New episode Saturday night at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know. Let's take a look at the big board and a verdict today in the civil trial that we were covering involving the first grade teacher, Abigail Zwerner, who was suing the assistant principal. She's on the right-hand side after Abigail got shot by a first grader, a 6-year-old who brought a gun to the school. Let's take a listen to the verdict.
We, the jury, on the issues joined, find in favor of the plaintiff, Abigail Zwerner, and assess her damages at $10 million. The award interest beginning on June 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any requests from the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor.
Any requests from the defense?
That we schedule time for post-trial motions.
All right.
Judgment may not be entered on the verdict today.
All right. So the court will withhold entry of a judgment order in the case. The court will further reserve all rulings and hearings on post-trial motions for a later date to be set by the parties. Anything else to take up at this time, Mr. Beniozen? Ms. Douglas?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
A big verdict for that teacher, $10 million. Now, it's not coming from the assistant principal. There's a fund, an insurance fund that the school system is a part of that will be responsible for that fund. They also paid for the lawyer for the assistant principal. Obviously, there'll be appeals, etc., but a huge verdict tonight. Now, take a look at your screens. We have a missing child who needs your help. This is Gabriel Patricia Terrelong, just 10 years old, missing out of South Florida since June 21st. If you see Gabriel, please pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Margate Police Department down in Florida. That phone number's up on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Gabriel to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.